Right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, give honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Give it double honor to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. And give it double honor to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. We coming in week and week out to preach the destruction and the downfall of this system, which what we call America, which is AKA a part of the European Common Market System. And what people don't understand is that when we looking at Donald Trump putting the tariffs on the other countries, we're looking at what you would call an economical war. In actuality, we already in the Third World War. It's just that if we haven't seen, prominent people in this country being assassinated, or we haven't seen the bombs or martial law in the country, we haven't seen what you would call a civil war in the country, but and yet again we are at what we would call the Third World War. We're in the middle stages of the Third World War. Why are your food prices going up every year or every month or something like that? Is because the country is she's losing her grip on the other nations that is ruling around about. When we look at the food prices that's going up, eggs is almost $20, right? Your meat and things in this nation was already going up. And the reason why it's going up is because America, aka the head of the European Common Market System, they're fighting against these other countries. And this is just the beginning of the stages that we're dealing with. Because if these tariffs don't work, then they're gonna start shooting. They're gonna start shooting missiles at the country. That's already happened. When we look over there in Ukraine, we see the war that's taking place over there in Ukraine. Why is the people over there in Ukraine fighting? It's because they want to control the natural resources over there in the country. And that's under the guise of what you would call NATO setting up their military bases over there in Ukraine, over there by Russia. And why is America putting tariffs on Canada, and she's putting tariffs on Mexico? It's because she's afraid that eventually Russia and China is going to get into the ears of Canada and Mexico, and they will be able to do trade and business with those people. So this is why the country is at an economical standoff with one another. This is why your food is going up. This is why everything that you have for as clothes, food, and shelter, this is why it's high, is because America is at a war with these other countries. And eventually these other countries is going to topple what we look at America is today. See, America was looked upon as what? The standing elite over all the countries. And now we see these countries coming against America because the Creator is slowly but surely moving America off of the scene, right? Because the next rulership that is going to take place on the planet today is the so-called black man, see? Which is of the tribe of the nation of Israel. But you can't see that is because the black man is not in his glow of today. Because he has been taken out of his glow by the Creator. Because why? Because we rebelled against the Most High. See, here it is, the Most High took us out of Egypt and placed us in our own land. And what did we do? We started to follow other gods. We started to set up other pantheons in the country that was contrary to the Creator. And as a result of this, the so-called Negro is a slave to all these other nations. But now the Most High is doing what? Taking the so-called white man out of his rulership, and eventually he's going to place the so-called black man back into the rulership as to being what? The teachers and the philosophers of the country. So when we're looking at the events that's taking place on the world stage, we're looking at the downfall of a kingdom. See, America was built upon what? Racism, robbery, murder, and deceit. So you can't take millions of people into captivity and think you're going to continue to tap dance into the future. And this is why you're being removed out of power. So the first scripture that we're going to be looking at, we're going to take a look at the book of Isaiah 2 and 12, right? Because this speaks to the spirit of the Caucasians today, right? Let's look at this. This is the book of Isaiah 2 and 12. It says, one second, let me get it. The book of Isaiah 2 and 12, it says, for the day of Yah of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty. And that's why the food prices is going up. That's why the food is destroyed. That's why the mindset of the people is destroyed today, is because why? Because this system, which is built upon white supremacy, is proud and lofty. See? They said that the so-called black man was a savage that lived in the jungle of a subhuman level. They wrote in the English dictionaries that white is pure and that black is what? Black is inferior, that is ugly. So the scripture says what? It says, for the day of Yah of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty. See? And another thing about history is that they don't tell history according to how history is supposed to be told. It's because we have been taught throughout the years that, you know, Hitler is one of the most cruelest dictators that was on the planet. But where did he get that behavior from though? He got it from America. It's because they don't tell you, you know, the documentary, which is called Alpha 21. But Alpha 21 shows how the Caucasians set up what you would call the eugenics program. And they set up a situation that they'll do what? That they'll start to sterilize black people from the ages of 9 up into adulthood, and they was doing it to what you would call the so-called Native Americans. See? So when we talk about Hitler killing 5 million Jews, right? Let's talk about how America killed over 100 million so-called black people from the transatlantic slave trade coming over here to the murder and the destruction of our people being in slavery and coming out of so-called slavery when we talk about the Emancipation of Proclamation. So when the Creator says what? For the day of Yah of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, we're talking about the Euro-Gentile world power system. Because it's up under the Euro-Gentile world power system that they said that white is superior and the so-called black man or the black race is inferior. We're going to go around and we're going to take over your natural resources. Right? This is how you shape and mold your system. The cell phone. When we talk about cable TVs and etc., all of the natural resources is coming out of what they would call Africa, right? How you came over there during the Berlin Conference and how you bit up different parts of Africa. How you came over to the west coast of Africa and you took the so-called black man into captivity. robbed him of the knowledge of self and told him that he comes from a race of nobodies. And that we ought to thank the Most High that, well, we got to thank your gods, which is Jesus Christ, that we brought you over from Africa and we civilized you. See, this is when the Creator is talking about for the day of YHWH shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty. That's how it looks. It's because a proud person will do a lot of disrespectful things in the earth, and he don't have no sense of remorse for what he's doing. See, the Christians talk about they godly, but they don't act godly. And one of the major people that is supporting Donald Trump and his 4-year presidency are Christians. See, they talk about Elon Musk is one of the major supporters, which he is. He donated over almost $40 or $50 million to his campaign, but they don't talk about how a lot of the Christian movement or these Christian religions are the major backers behind a lot of these politicians that is in office today. See, they don't talk about those type of things. So if these people are behind the scenes and they're helping his presidency, so that shows you what type of mentality they have. They want to continue to go to other people's country and set up their democracy, get rid of their culture, their sense of worship or whatever gods that they're worshiping, and they're going to force them to serve their gods, or they're not going to be able to reap the benefits of the rulership of what? Of America, right? And the European Common Market System. So when we see Canada, and a lot of these different European countries that are basically coming against America, we see the fall of what we will call Babylon the Great. It's because the modern day Babylonians is the Euro-Gentile world power system that we up under today, right? They control the natural resources, they control the food, everything that's coming out of the earth. They control the mindset of the people. This is why the people in the world today is at what? An all-time low. See, when we talk about the so-called black woman, see, in the 60s, the 50s, and the 40s, and the 30s, she had some type of sense of pride. See, when she came outside, she had to dress a certain type of way. She had pride in how she dressed, how her hair was done, right? And the men had pride just as well. But of today, because of the fall of the country, people don't have pride today on how they dress, on how they interact with each other. See? And this is why the Creator is saying what? For the day of Yah is upon all the people that is proud and lofty. It's because we supposed to live in what you would call a Christian country, but see, the Christians are more destructive and devilish than all the other religions that's out here today. It's because the Christians are nothing but modern day Catholics. Irregardless if you're a Jehovah's Witness, or you're a Seventh-day Adventist, or you're a Baptist, or you're Episcopalian, or whatever denomination that you belong to, you are what? You are what you would call a Catholic. And it's up under those type of philosophies and those schools of thoughts. And this is why the world is in disarray. It's because the whole world is following after Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. See? So when the Creator says what? For the day of YHWH shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty. This is why the countries around the world, this is why they at war with each other. It's because they proud. See? They proud. when they so-called freed the black man from slavery, the first thing that they thought about doing was exterminating him. They couldn't do it outright how they wanted to do, so they set up what you would call the eugenics program. And like I said before, in the eugenics program, it was sterilizing young children from the ages of, I think, about 9 or 8 up into adulthood. And if you wanted to get public aid in the country, in order for your mama to continue to get public aid in the 60s and the 50s, some of your kids had to be sterilized or they couldn't have no babies. So what is the day of Yah? Or what you would call the day of the Lord? The day of the Lord is death and destruction. See, a lot of you cats talking about how Jesus is coming back and all this kind of stuff. If that's the case, he's not coming back how he so-called came back 1,000 and something years ago. He's coming back with death and destruction. Even though he's not coming back, is because that is some of the tares that is amongst the wheat that is a part of our history today. See, the so-called black man he hasn't come into the realization that he comes from the tribe of Judah. See, that's where he comes from, and that his history has been stolen away from him, right? That he's been told that he's an African American, a colored man, all this type of stuff. But in the end result, that he comes from the tribe of Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, right? And it behooves the so-called black man to return back to his heritage, where he comes from. See, the white man didn't bring no niggas to America. They brought the natural and the spiritual seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, our people don't come from a race of nobodies. We are the natural and the spiritual seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it behooves the so-called black man to return back to his God. We got to get on the Most High side so the Most High can fight our battles against our enemies that's in the country. Because little that you know that you have enemies. You have people that is in rulership, whether they're in prominent rulership or they the people that's in the neighborhood. They have what? A sole purpose to keep the so-called black man at a certain type of level. See? They don't want to see him rise to a certain type of level. And the educational system in our neighborhoods is a prime example of that. It's because the educational system in our countries, in this country, did not show the so-called black man who he was from a nationalistic standpoint of view. And this is why our neighborhoods is destroyed. This is why we walk down the street and we got our pants hanging off our behinds. This is why when we get on national TV, we say the word nigga like it's a thing of endearment. It's because this country has destroyed us. It's because the Creator put our people in the country to do what? To chastise them because of the sins of their forefathers. See, our ancestors that was over there in what you would call Northeast Africa, they had a historical foundation of where they come from. We had language, we had a culture, we had a sense of awareness. See, we can trade with other countries. We had natural resources in the country. This is what the Creator gave us in the land of Canaan. But because we failed to live up to the responsibility that the Creator has bestowed upon us, this is why we have become a vagabond upon everybody on the face of the planet. This is why every time wherever the black man goes, He's going to be public enemy number one. He's going to be discriminated against. If you don't have talents and gifts, if you can't bounce a basketball, right? If you can't play football, if you can't master the arts of the Babylonians, you're going to be public enemy number one. We're going to put you in the ghetto, right? We're going to put you in the ghetto. We're going to give you limited resources in your neighborhood. And we're going to set up what you would call stages of events where the so-called black man is going to kill one another until we wipe you off of the face of the planet. We're going to put you in prison. We're going to give you a number. And we're going to dehumanize you in prison, right? And this is why the Creator is saying what? Let's read that scripture. It says, Isaiah 2:12. For the day of YHWH shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. And this is why the country is in disarray today. This is why a carton of eggs costs $20. This is why all your clothes is high, because the people that's ruling and the affairs of man is proud. See? They want to continue to set up business over in other countries, making gym shoes, Nikes, Reeboks, Pumas, and all these different clothes and things of this nature. They want to pay the people 2 cents on the dollar to make these clothes that they will bring over here, and they will charge thousands of dollars for these teeth. That's the proud and the lofty. They want to drill in the ground, and they know that when you drill in the ground, that oil, it seeps into the water of the poor, whether you so-called white, or you so-called black, or you so-called purple and orange. The poor, they drill in the ground, and that oil seeps into the water. And what happens when it seeps into the water? It poisons the water. See, that's the proud and the lofty, right? And they don't want to pay people when the people is catching cancer, right? Or they having some type of illness. They don't want to pay you. That's why they stand in the Supreme Court, and they say they create laws, and they say that if you catch cancer from a product that they selling, that you can't go to court and you can't sue these people. That's what you call the proud and the lofty. What we would call the basis of men, the people that don't have no respect for human life. They can't stand the poor, right? Who else is the proud and the lofty? You working at McDonald's, they want to pay you $10. And here it is, they making billions of dollars off of kangaroo meat, right? Kangaroo meat that is being sold at McDonald's. They want to pay you $10 an hour. So when you go and you start to protest, now they gotta pay you $15. They say they're gonna shut the business down, and you're gonna have to go find another job somewhere else because they don't want to pay you no money. This is the mentality of the proud. This is the mentality of the lofty. And this is why the Creator is bringing upon the earth death and destruction. Because the so-called white man sowed the seeds of deceit in the earth. See, it was a time where the so-called black man, he had to do what? He had to put his head down when he walked down the street when he walked by a so-called white person. He had to put his head, your grandmama had to put her head down. See? Because if you looked up at a so-called white person, they called it what? Reckless eyeballing. And the penalty for reckless eyeballing was what? Either prison or death, or you would be humiliated in the streets. Right? See, the people have forgotten about that. It's because the 13th and the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, it allowed the so-called white man to hide behind what? This racism in the earth. And this is why the Creator is bringing forth a whirlwind on the European common market system that she has never seen before. This is why you got fires. This is why California is on fire. This is why the food prices keep going up. This is why the women and the men, the behavior of the women and the men is at an all-time low. It's because this is the mentality and the culture of the Euro-Gentile world power system. Let's look at another scripture. Let's turn to the 13th chapter of the book of Isaiah, verses 6 and 9. Matter of fact, we're going to read the whole chapter because there's a lot of meat on this bone, right? This is the 13th chapter of the book of Isaiah, because the so-called white man is the modern day Babylonian of the earth today. See, the modern day Chaldeans are you Christians, you Muslims, and you Jews. The 13th chapter of the book of Isaiah, and I'm going to be reading from the 2nd verse. And it says, lift up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. And who is the nobles of today? It's the elites. See? The elites of today, they supposed to be, that's your presidents, that's your senators, right? That's the people in higher office. This your pastors. This your congressman, your president, right? Regardless of what president that is in office today, the Most High said, lift up the banner and go into the gates of the nobles. Because white supremacy of today is the modern day nobles of today. They supposed to be the people of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So the Most High said what? Lift up a banner upon the high mountain. And what is the high mountains of today? It's the European common market system. And the person that sit at the foot of the European common market system is America. So America is the high mountain that the Creator is talking about today. See, if I was Barack Obama, if I was Donald Trump, if I was somebody of some type of stature, it would be thousands of people standing out here today, right? But just because it's a person of low stature, they say, look at this cat. What is he? He should be at work today. He should be, why is he out here preaching the Bible? So it says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, and exalt a voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the noble. I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my hidings. So the Creator is not coming. He's not going to come by himself. He's going to set up his prophets in the earth. His sanctified one. It's because the Hebrew word for sanctified is kodash, right? He's going to set up his sanctified ones in the earth, and they're going to speak towards. They're going to speak towards the unrighteousness that's in the earth. That's what they're supposed to be doing today. See, the man of the Most High is not supposed to be just standing out here with banners and things of this nature. They're not saying nothing. They're supposed to be prophesying. But what is the true concept of prophesying? They got to speak to the moral corruption of the country. That's why he said that he has what? That he has sanctified his sanctified ones. They got to come out here in these last days and they got to speak towards the corruption of the country. That's what they got to be talking about. We got to be talking about this in the winter. We got to be talking about this in the spring. We got to be talking about this during the summer and the fall. Rain, sleet, and snow. This is what we got to be talking about. And if you're not talking about the events that's taking place on the world stage today, you ain't talking about the Bible. It says, I have commanded my sanctified ones, and I have also called my mighty ones of my anger, even them that rejoice in my hidings, the noise of a multitude in the mountains. Like as of a great people, tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathers together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of battle. It's because that's what the country is going to today. The Most High is beating the drum of war and destruction amongst you nations. This is why y'all is in war today. 1 second. Says the noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, and tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yah of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. Even Yah and the weapons of his indignations to destroy the whole land. See? Because during that time, they was talking about the Babylonians. How the Medes was going to come in and destroy the Chaldeans. But who is the modern day Medes of today? And who is the modern day Chaldeans of today? It's America. And who is the modern day Medes? It's Russia. See? The modern day Medo-Persians of today, sister, is the Russians. And who? The Chinese. They have came together under one consent to destroy America and their allies. This is why the country is at war today. This is why Donald Trump is putting tariffs on Canada. This is why she's putting tariffs on the countries. This is why a lot of the countries have sanctions put on them. It's because this is a way for the country to do what? To keep their foot on their neck. But the Creator said what? He's going to raise up a nation from afar. And they're going to come, and they're going to come with what? They're not coming with peace, they're coming with war. And who is the modern day Medo-Persians today, spiritually? It's the BRICS nations. See? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and all these other countries that have aligned themselves with Russia. And it's going to be some of the people here, they're going to align themselves with Russia. From the Democrat and the Republican Party, see? So it says they come from a far country from the end of the heaven. Even Yah and the weapons of his indignations to destroy the whole land. And how's the Creator's going to destroy the land? He's going to destroy the land by nuclear destruction. That's how the land is going to be destroyed. See? When America and Russia finally come face to face, remove all the proxy armies out of the way, they're not going to fight a war like they fought in World War I and World War II. They're going to fight a war with nuclear weapons. In this book called Nuclear War, it talks about how catastrophic these bombs are and how the people is going to be turned into combustible carbon. And what is combustible carbon? That is ashes. See, this is how strong and how prominent nuclear bombs is that these people have that they're going to unleash. See, because this is what you would call the day of the Lord. The day of the Lord is not the Lord coming down here with roses and chocolates. He's coming with destruction. See? And that's why the black man and the black woman, they got to return back to what? Their nationality. They got to understand that the Creator didn't bring no niggas to America. That they brought the natural and the spiritual seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that we're still in captivity. But see, we're in a different type of captivity. The captivity that we're in today is that we think that this is our country. We think that when they talk about, when they sit up and they sing the Star Spangled Banner, they think that the Star Spangled Banner now is talking about us. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty of DIC, the land where my fathers died. See, the black man think that the Star Spangled Banner of today is talking about him. I was looking at the so-called Negro on YouTube. He said that the reason why these countries are succeeding in their countries like China, Canada, and all these other countries, how they living deliciously now, the black man said because these countries are stealing from us. How you gonna say that? You don't own nothing. Where's your land then, Negro? Where's your country? See, the black man think that this is his country. This is his land. My father fought in Vietnam War. My father fought and desert story. This is the mentality of our people. It's because our people have been destroyed. It says out 6 verse 13 chapter. 13th chapter of the book of Isaiah, the 6th verse. It says, how ye, for the day of Yah is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. See? So when the Creator came upon the Chaldeans, how did the Creator come upon the Chaldeans? He came upon the Chaldeans with an army of people. He anointed the Medo-Persians to come in and destroy the Chaldeans. And just like he anointed the Medo-Persians, he has anointed the BRICS nations to come in and to topple America and the people that is allied to America. It's because America is the modern day proud and lofty. She gave the black man 100 years for selling drugs, and then she turned around and legalized the same drugs that she put the black man in prison for. Back then, you get Fed cases for selling weed. Now weed is legal. But look at all the people that's in jail for selling marijuana. That's the proud and the lofty. And this is why this country is going to be destroyed. That's why it behooves the so-called black man. He has to return back to who he is. Because under the Euro educational system, it has destroyed us. It has taught us that, when you still call yourself a black man, or African American, then what are you doing? You still calling yourself a nigga. That's what you still doing. 6th verse, how ye, for the day of Yah is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall be melted. See? And what does that look like? That's going to look like nuclear holocaust. That's going to look like how this country, eventually, they're going to go into what you would call a civil war. It's because who was the people that tried to assassinate Donald Trump when he was running for president 3 times? It was the Democrats. That's who did that. And the Democrats and the Republicans are nothing but the North and the South of today. See? They fought back in the day, they fought a war called the Civil War, where they was fighting to control the Union. And this is the same thing that's going on today. So the destruction that is coming upon the people is that you're going to put down your ballots and you're going to pick up machine guns. Another war is going to embark in this country is because when Rome was defeated, she had to defeat them from within. And this is what's happening with the country today. She's being destroyed from within. The morale of the woman is at an all-time low. The mentality of the female today is at an all-time low. I remember back when I was a youngster, you have to work to get to a female. Now you don't even have to do nothing. You can just go on Instagram and see a female, and you can look at her whole body part, see? It says, therefore shall all hands be faint, and everyone's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pains and sorrow shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. Ain't the people in pain today? People don't even know where their next meal is going to come today. The job market is falling. But the people today, they so caught up in vainism, they still trying to live like they lived 20 years ago. You can't live like that today. It's because the system that you worshiping as a god, and like all idols, they're gonna fall on the ground and they're gonna break. And they're gonna do what? They're gonna break into pieces. And that's what's going on with the American system. She's breaking into pieces. And a lot of you know, we got this term in the neighborhood, we call it, off of that movie called Friday, he ain't gonna cry in the car. He ain't gonna go cry in the car. That's what you white folks gonna do. You gonna cry in the car, see? That's what you so-called black people gonna do that's still following after the system. You gonna cry in the car. See? You gonna cry. But there's no one that's gonna help you. Because if you're not sealed in your forehead, you will be destroyed. It says, how ye, for the day of Yah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. There shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart melt. And they shall be afraid, pains and sorrow shall take hold of them. And they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. And it says, they shall be amazed one another, and their faces shall be as flames. See? For the day of Yah cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. And that's what's taking place, man. The people today that is not following the Creator, they're going to be destroyed, man. When we talk about the kingdom of heaven, which is a righteous government that don't have no racism, they're not going around pillaging other people's countries. These is all the people that is going to be destroyed out of the land. And when we talk about the land, we're talking about this earth, see? So with that being said, brothers and sisters, I hope that you got something out of the lesson. Peace and death to the Euro-Gentile world power system.